and around the country. This is video from the last No Kings protest over the summer in June. The organizers say that they're taking a stand against the Trump administration and its policies. Some Republican officials are painting the protest as un-American. BART police, they want to know if you've seen this woman. Do you recognize her? They say that she may have something to do with a stabbing near the Daly City BART station. That attack happening a month ago by the bus zone. The victim was hospitalized. Police have not said exactly how this woman could be connected to the case, though. Safety upgrades at the West Portal station in San Francisco now complete. Planters were added to act as barriers out there, and street murals mark pedestrian zones outside of the station. It comes more than a year after a car crashed there, killing a family of 4, including 2 young children. The driver has not pleaded guilty to vehicular manslaughter charges. Now let's go ahead and get a look at your weather with First Alert weather meteorologist Zoe Minson today. And what is our weekend going to look like? So far, it's looking nice.
Happy Friday, everybody. We have made it to an absolutely gorgeous weekend for anybody that wants to get out and about. You should be good to go all across the Bay Area. This afternoon, our high temperatures are going to be a few degrees warmer than yesterday. Inland communities sitting in the upper 70s to low 80s, finally getting back to more seasonable for this time of year. Closer to our coastal communities, places like Half Moon Bay, you'll be in the upper 60s still. But overall, with a good amount of sunshine, a few passing clouds out there, this afternoon is going to be lovely. If you can't get out this afternoon, don't worry. Tomorrow afternoon is going to be just as gorgeous, if not a degree or 2 warmer than today. Those highs once again inland sitting in the low 80s, but you're also going to be in the low 80s for areas by the bay like Redwood City. So yes, those warmer temperatures are on the way, and even Half Moon Bay Saturday afternoon with a good amount of sunshine. You're going to be seeing those highs sitting in the low 70s. Again, enjoy it while you can. By Sunday, you'll be cooling down maybe a degree or 2. It's not going to be too much colder on Sunday, though, as those temperatures are likely going to stay at or slightly below average through the rest of the weekend into early next week, as there's little to no chances for rain up until next weekend. Next weekend, October 24th to the 27th, we are looking at the potential for an atmospheric river. The bulk of it's going to be hitting the Pacific Northwest and Northern California, but there is that slight potential for a little bit of it to be heading our way. Again, that's not going to be until next weekend. It's just something that we're keeping a close eye on. So if you look at our 7-day forecast, there is no chances for rain from today all the way through next Thursday. It's next Friday that the first potential for a little bit of that rain to be heading our way. And then next weekend is likely going to be a lot more active than this one, especially across our North Bay communities. All things we'll keep a close eye on, but overall enjoy this weekend while you can. It's going to be absolutely lovely out there.
Today is day 17 of the government shutdown, and still no end in sight. The Senate adjourned for the week after failing for the 10th time to advance a spending bill to end the shutdown. Some federal workers are just starting to feel that impact. They recently received their last paychecks for the time being before the shutdown, and most of them, they won't be paid again until lawmakers reach that deal to fund the government. Among them, hundreds of workers at the Oakland airport, many now showing up to work without getting paid. Now the Alameda County Community Food Bank, they're stepping in here to help.
The cool thing that I will say is that the Bay Area tends to step up. We believe food is a basic human right, and we think everybody should have access to the nourishment that they need.
An official with the Oakland airport estimating nearly 300 employees are working free right now, and that includes TSA, Border Patrol, and air traffic controllers. We are now less than 3 weeks out from the California special election that could reshape the balance of power in Congress. On November 4th, Californians will vote on Proposition 50, which could give the state legislature the power to redraw House districts. You may have already received your ballot in the mail, but that's probably not the only thing that you've received related to Prop 50. We're talking about all those flyers in the mail, the fundraising text messages, and the commercials like this one running all day on TV. It's already one of the most expensive measures in state history. But who's funding these campaigns? We asked our Lauren Toms to go out there and follow the money.
It's a statewide ballot measure that's not only triggering a special election, but Prop 50 is drawing eye-popping sums of money. And for San Francisco voter Renee Block, it's not about the dollars behind it, but the mission he says it represents.
No House, no Senate, no White House, no courts. This is our last chance.
Every weekend, he's hitting the pavement from the Mission to the Sunset, trying to cut through the flood of advertising and political noise.
And people are confused, and if they stay home or if they don't vote for the proposition, we can lose this opportunity.
As his T-shirt states, Block plans to vote yes on Prop 50, the proposal to temporarily redraw California's congressional map to add 5 Democratic-leaning seats in the House and boost Democrats' chances to flip control of Congress. But behind the grassroots effort is a tidal wave of cash. State campaign finance reports show spending at nearly $215 million, $134 million for and $78 million against, passing spending records for the rideshare Proposition 22 in 2020 and the 2022 gambling fights, Props 26 and 27, which shattered records at over $450 million combined.
And California ballot measure elections are basically the most expensive elections in the United States, not called a presidential election.
Sonoma State political expert David McEwen says the final price tag, including the cost of the special election and legal challenges to come, could top $500 million.
This is going to be maybe not the most expensive ballot measure in California history, but it'll at least be number 2 and has the potential to be number 1. Why that's important is this is a setup for the 2026 midterms.
Most of the yes side cash is flowing from national Democratic groups, including the House Majority PAC and labor unions, viewing Prop 50 as a test run for the 2026 midterms. The no side is largely backed by the Republican-leaning Congressional Leadership Fund and conservative donors like Charles Munger Jr., but notably missing so far is any money from the Trump political committees.
Proposition 50 threatens what voters built.
Even without such funding, Republicans in the state like Congressman Kevin Kiley argue the new map takes away their representation.
I think it'll only lead to less bipartisanship, less common ground, and even greater division in this country.
And for all the millions spent on airwaves and mailboxes, volunteers like Renee are investing what he says money can't buy.
People that contribute to understand that this is our last chance to preserve democracy.
And of course, we'll stay on top of these important issues for you as we head towards Election Day. Next week, we're going to be looking at how these new district lines were drawn. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a rock thrower leaving a trail of broken glass and terrorizing an East Bay neighborhood.
Well, I'm constantly anxious in any sound I hear. Now it's like, all right, what was that?
How neighbors are taking matters into their own hands. Plus, today marking 35 years since the deadly Loma Prieta earthquake. Are you prepared for the next big one?
The strain meter data, we can use a little bit more to see what's going on the fault right now.
How seismologists are laying new equipment to better understand this sleeping giant. And CBS News Bay Area will bring you live coverage of the No Kings protests across the Bay Area. Our coverage, that starts at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and you can watch on kpix.com and also streaming right here on the free CBS News app. Stay with us.
Happy Friday, everybody. We're looking at a gorgeous weekend of weather ahead of us. I highly suggest getting out this afternoon and evening, and if you can't today, don't worry. Tomorrow is going to be just as lovely out there. Those temperatures slightly above average inland, sitting in the mid to lower 80s. Hey, we haven't felt that in a while, and I hope you can again get out and enjoy yourself closer to the coast and the bay. A few degrees cooler, but overall lovely weather with little to no chances for rain over at least the next 7 days. You can put your umbrella away, at least for now.
Someone has been walking around an East Bay neighborhood throwing rocks seemingly at random into whatever kind of window they run into and then running off. It's happening in the Rock Ridge neighborhood of Oakland, out of all places, and neighbors, they say they're fed up with it. As Andrea Nakano reports for us, they're banding together now to help stop it.
Driving down the streets just north of Highway 24 in the Rock Ridge community, you can see boarded up windows scattered in the neighborhood. It was just 3 weeks ago when a rock came flying through the window of Luis Aguirre's home.
We were literally just sleeping, and at 6 a.m. we got rudely awakened at 6 in the morning with a fat rock thrown through our window.
Thankfully, no one was hurt, but he says if it happened any later, either him or his daughter would have been watching TV that Saturday morning. After the incident, he shared what happened on social media.
We wanted to tell our neighbors, right, make sure that they were aware that this happened. We reached out to anyone who had any footage. That was like our immediate, just trying to track down who did this, what motivation did they try and do.
Aguirre also put up security cameras to hopefully catch the man responsible. Within days, the next incident happened. This time, a rock shattered a window of his car.
And we got footage of the individual who did it, and just aimlessly walking in the middle of the street, just stopped and threw the rock at our car.
Other residents have captured footage of the suspect as well and have posted these flyers of a man wearing red sweatpants all throughout this neighborhood. They say they've experienced crime in this area, but this feels different.
Seeing stuff like this, even though it feels like it's less malicious and more, maybe something else is going on with this individual, it still makes me feel anxious.
Aguirre says once he posted what happened at his house, more and more of his neighbors have come forward to share similar stories. Many are sharing information and videos, hoping to put an end to the chaos.
Well, I'm constantly anxious in any sound I hear now. It's all right, what was that? It's definitely shaking up our peace of mind a little bit, but we know it's not a widespread theft crime issue, right? It definitely feels like it's just one individual who's very disturbed, and yeah, we're just hoping to get some support to track him down and hopefully get it to stop.
Okay, so we reached out to Oakland police about the rock thrower. They tell us these incidents, they're under investigation. Federal investigators believe they have found the fraudsters behind the billion-dollar text scam targeting drivers using fast-track toll lanes. You might have received those text messages yourself attempting to collect payment for toll fees. According to the Wall Street Journal, the feds say high-tech Chinese criminal organizations are behind this scheme. They've stolen $1 billion over the past 3 years.
Productively paranoid, I guess, would be the best way to put it. You don't want people to be afraid of using their phones or doing that kind of thing, but you do want folks to stop for a second and think, is this legit or not? Is this something that's safe or not?
Experts are reminding us all to not open any links sent to you from people you don't know. For those of you with diabetes, listen up. Your insulin could soon cost a lot less. Governor Newsom says California will start selling generic drugs for at least $11 per pen. It's part of a partnership to sell state-branded prescriptions at a lower cost. The governor's office says that the state-branded insulin will be available starting the month of January. According to CalRx, 1 in 4 people with diabetes cannot afford their medicine. California is joining more than a dozen other states now that are suing the EPA for ending the Solar for All program. The $7 billion program was approved by Congress under then-President Biden, but was canceled by the EPA in August. It provided additional funding for low-income or disadvantaged households looking to switch to solar. Attorney General Rob Bonta said its termination was unlawful. EPA administrators argue that the agency has no no longer has the authority or the funds to keep that program going for people. Today now marks 36 years since the devastating Loma Prieta earthquake. The magnitude 6.9 quake centered in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It killed 63 people, injuring more than 3,700 others, and causing billions of dollars in damage. The moment it hit, it was all caught on live television just before Game 3 of the World Series between the Giants and the A's at Candlestick Park.
Second base, so the Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Terrifying moments, the quake causing a 50-foot span of the Bay Bridge to collapse, crushing cars and killing one woman. Thankfully, rush hour traffic was lighter that day when the shaking started because people were at home watching the Giants and the A's. And just yesterday, there was a small earthquake in Berkeley on the Hayward Fault. It struck just before 9:30 a.m. That was right before the Great Shakeout Drill. The 74-mile-long Hayward Fault runs under several East Bay cities, and scientists say it's due for another big earthquake. And our Brian Hackney tagged along with seismologists to see how they're monitoring the situation.
At the end of a long, dusty road in the hills east of Fremont, a 500-foot hole has been drilled deep into the heart of the Hayward Fault.
I'm Todd Erickson. I'm with the Earthquake Science Center at the U.S. Geological Survey. We're here today taking out old electronics enclosure for a borehole strain meter.
The crew's busy removing the old dome protecting that borehole strain meter, a super sensitive device suspended deep in solid rock.
So we're kind of close to the Hayward Fault here?
We are. Hayward Fault is a little bit over that hill.
And just ask anybody
which fault would cause the most damage. That's the Hayward Fault.
The fault last snapped big time in 1868. And since then, stress has just been cranking up and cranking up.
As the fault is moving, but there's no earthquake occurring, we can see a gradual increase in the strain in the rock.
160 years of strain have built up since the last great quake on the Hayward Fault. So you're able to measure that strain, and scientists can sit at their desk in the comfort of their office and just look at it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We telemeter this data and we're monitoring this data. It comes back in real time.
This is one of those scientists, geophysicist Anne-Marie Bolte at USGS Moffett Field.
The strain meters are really telling us what's currently happening as the fault is moving.
This is a solar controller.
How much power does this generate?
This is 400 watts of solar.
Several of these networks are strung out along the San Andreas fault system.
The strain meter data we can use a little bit more to see what's going on the fault right now, and that may give us a sense of how a fault is going to rupture.
How a fault is going to rupture, but not when. But since every scrap of data counts, well...
The old enclosure was getting, how should we say, decrepit.
Oh my God.
And this is what we're dealing with.
Rat's nests.
Rat's nests.
So, out goes the 30-year-old enclosure, and in comes the new.
Those electronics are going to go back in place in that new box. More user-friendly, safer, cleaner. It'll be much easier to keep the rats out.
So, Todd has solved the rodent problem. But the Hayward Fault problem, that's here to stay.
When it happens, let's not panic. Let's have a plan, okay? And while quakes are top of mind, today is the deadline for homeowners, landlords, and property owners to apply for a grant toward retrofitting homes that are vulnerable to quake damage. And you could get up to $3,000 in grant money to help you out. Still ahead, we're going to introduce you to an East Bay family hoping that a new housing development could provide the specialized care they need for their autistic son.
He needs to be in an environment where he is safe. That is the most important word to me.
want to head out over the next several days, though, really not too many weather issues to worry about. There is going to be a little bit more cloud coverage, a little bit stronger winds again. That will be on Sunday, but Saturday it's going to be plenty of sunshine, a little bit of rain across the Pacific Northwest. That rain not heading our way. Again, the entirety of California is likely going to be pretty quiet through the weekend and throughout most of next week. Look at the timestamp in the bottom right corner of the screen. Maybe a little bit more cloud coverage into Tuesday and Wednesday, but overall temperatures are going to stay seasonable and little to no chances for rain until next Friday. There's going to be a very large atmospheric river impacting the Pacific Northwest and Northern California and bringing us here in the Bay Area, especially our North Bay communities, from October 24th to the 27th, the potential for some more widespread heavy activity. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. That will be next weekend. It's going to be a lot more active. So this weekend, please make outdoor plans and enjoy yourself. Those temperatures sitting in the 80s across our inland communities. A couple of degrees cooler by Sunday inland, but honestly, it's not going to be that much cooler. It's still going to be a great day to spend outdoors. It's still going to be really, really nice out there. Inland to the Bay to our coastal communities. Enjoy yourself this weekend while you can, because again, next weekend is going to look a lot different.
Looking forward to it. A nonprofit in Contra Costa County just receiving nearly $20 million in state funding to build permanent housing for those living with intellectual and developmental disabilities. More than 165 projects across the state applied for it, and only 30 were selected. Our Suji Nam spent the day with one family in Lafayette whose son lives with autism. They shared how this new community will change their lives.
That one.
For the past 17 years,
I'm showing you the garbage.
Chris Treat has been taking out his neighbor's garbage bins.
They've been gone since September 22nd. I knew their black and blue can would be empty.
You'll find him diligently taking out the trash once a week.
I like helping people.
Chris is 31 years old. He was diagnosed with autism when he was nearly 3 years old.
And what if Dad and I told you that's called?
All back on memory.
His mother Nancy says he has a rare gift, knowing the days and dates of something even random that happened in his life.
April 16, 2022.
When his brother played baseball.
It's a Saturday.
Chris lives with his parents.
There you go. We do this once a week to help keep his scalp clear.
Nancy and her husband Steve have been desperately searching for a community that supports those with developmental disabilities.
We've looked at private options and they are unaffordable.
With no luck, it's forced them to look for out-of-state options.
He needs to be in an environment where he is safe. That is the most important word to me.
But now there is hope. Sunflower Hill, a nonprofit organization, announced they received nearly $20 million in state funding to build permanent supportive housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Lafayette. Founder Susan Houghton says the goal is to build 48 units, but still needs more funding before construction begins.
Hope for the future that your loved one can live independently, but also not unlike senior living in a very supportive activities-based location, where if they want to go down and take a cooking class, they can. If they want to do yoga, it's there. If they want to garden, there's that opportunity.
Opportunity for Chris to grow.
Part of the question is why don't we just keep him at home? It works so well here. That'll work as long as it works, but we're not going to live forever, which is why we need to find him a place.
While Chris will need to join the lottery system for Sunflower Hill housing, they are optimistic.
He's going to get to the other end of the tunnel. There's going to be a light.
And Chris, too, is excited.
My family, my friends, my program.
Holding on to the hope for a comfortable and safe future.
A little more independence for Chris there. Sunflower Hill says it's about halfway through construction and its funding. The project was expected to take about a year. The nonprofit also plans to apply for more housing grants, tax credits, and even possibly federal loans. No date yet on when they think those doors will open. School lunches, they often get a bad rap, but San Francisco Unified is trying to make the menu more appetizing with its new California Flavors campaign. The program brings different types of food to schools inspired by different cultures. Things like pozole and Caribbean-inspired jerk bowl. The school district says that the lunches featured local fruits and veggies and meet certain nutrition guidelines for students. Students at Balboa High, they got a first taste.
I thought it was like really good, actually. I was really surprised at how good it was because it's school food. I've had school food basically my entire life, and so I know how bad it can get.
Oh, talk to my daughter. Other school districts across the state are also taking part in the program. The new dishes will soon be introduced at San Francisco Unified Cafeterias. Coming up in our next half hour of news here on CBS News Bay Area, it's something that we all dread, getting that jury notice in the mail. But what if we never go? We looked into the potential consequences for skipping jury duty.
We're trying to balance this issue of not being too heavy-handed, but also making sure that people show up.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Veronica Macias, taking another look at our news headlines. The No Kings protests are scheduled to take place tomorrow across the Bay Area and around the country. This is video from the last No Kings protest over the summer in June. The organizers say that they're taking a stand against the Trump administration and its policies. Some Republican officials are painting the protest as un-American. BART police want to know if you've seen this woman. They think you may know her and they want to know information. She may be connected to a stabbing near the Daly City BART station. That attack happening a month ago by the bus zone. That victim was hospitalized. Police have not said how the woman could be connected to the case. Safety upgrades at the West Portal station in San Francisco now complete. There are planters that were added to act as barriers and street murals. They mark the pedestrian zones outside of the station. It comes more than a year after a car crashed there into a family of four, including 2 young children. The driver has pleaded not guilty to vehicular manslaughter charges. Now let's go ahead and get another check of our forecast with meteorologist Zoe Mintz.
Happy Friday, everybody. We have made it to an absolutely gorgeous weekend for anybody that wants to get out and about. You should be good to go all across the Bay Area. This afternoon, our high temperatures are going to be a few degrees warmer than yesterday. Inland communities sitting in the upper 70s to low 80s, finally getting back to more seasonable for this time of year. Closer to our coastal communities, places like Half Moon Bay, you'll be in the upper 60s still. But overall, with a good amount of sunshine, a few passing clouds out there, this afternoon is going to be lovely. If you can't get out this afternoon, don't worry. Tomorrow afternoon is going to be just as gorgeous, if not a degree or two warmer than today. Those highs once again inland sitting in the low 80s, but you're also going to be in the low 80s for areas by the bay like Redwood City. So yes, those warmer temperatures are on the way, and even Half Moon Bay Saturday afternoon with a good amount of sunshine. You're going to be seeing those highs sitting in the low 70s. Again, enjoy it while you can. By Sunday, you'll be cooling down maybe a degree or two. It's not going to be too much colder on Sunday, though, as those temperatures are likely going to stay at or slightly below average through the rest of the weekend into early next week, as there's little to no chances for rain up until next weekend. Next weekend, October 24th to the 27th, we are looking at the potential for an atmospheric river. The bulk of it's going to be hitting the Pacific Northwest and Northern California, but there is that slight potential for a little bit of it to be heading our way. Again, that's not going to be until next weekend. It's just something that we're keeping a close eye on. So if you look at our 7-day forecast, there is no chances for rain from today all the way through next Thursday. It's next Friday that the first potential for a little bit of that rain to be heading our way. And then next weekend is likely going to be a lot more active than this one, especially across our North Bay communities. All things we'll keep a close eye on, but overall enjoy this weekend while you can. It's going to be absolutely lovely out there.
A sophisticated group of thieves has been targeting jewelry stores in the Bay Area and other parts of Northern California. Now, 4 members of that crime ring are in custody. Carmela Karcher is in Lodi, where there was a standoff after the thieves tunneled through a wall to get inside a pawn shop.
It's a scene straight out of an action thriller, playing out in real life.
These guys didn't just wake up one morning saying, I want to steal a bunch of gold necklaces.
It all started in the early morning hours on Thursday, when all of a sudden, Lodi Pawn and Jewelry Store's internet was cut out.
And they actually jammed the internet next door to as well to our business, and so we were out of internet. They got to the system, they did, but they weren't successful because right when they got to it, got a notification.
As soon as that notification popped up, he knew something was wrong. But little did he know, Sacramento County sheriffs were already waiting nearby.
Heard about a burglary potentially happening here at this jewelry store. Again, credit to their security system. They had a great one, so they weren't able to actually make out with a single thing. But our folks were nearby, converged on it.
Officers swarmed the store, detaining 3 people.
The other was trying to hide in a ventilation duct. The SWAT team came here, introduced gas, encouraged him to surrender, and he also came out. So right now we have all 4 detained, all 4 are being questioned.
Then the investigation into how they entered the store began. And it all started at the neighboring business.
Our lights were out during that period of time, but they cut a hole in the wall, and right then, they got in and they weren't able to get into the vault.
Turns out 2 suspects have construction and demo backgrounds. Another is an alarm specialist, and the other owns a jewelry store in Colombia with potential ties to the cartel, all believed to be Colombian. And this isn't their first incident.
We had a break-in of a jewelry store in Sacramento County where the burglars took off with over $1 million worth of merchandise. Now, the alarming thing is kind of the techniques they use. This is a very sophisticated crew using very sophisticated methods and techniques.
Their reign of theft has come to an end.
God is on our side. We got lucky.
That final suspect hiding in a ventilation duct and police using tear gas or a similar substance, forcing them out. We're now hearing from Democratic gubernatorial candidate Katie Porter for the first time since recent videos of her went viral. In one of those videos, she threatened to cut off an interview with CBS News California investigative reporter Julie Watts. And in another video, it shows her cursing at a staffer.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it.
And the state could lose... Get out of my shot.
Porter spoke at an online California Working Families Party Forum addressing the viral videos. When asked whether workers under her leadership would be threatened or treated with dignity and respect, this is what she had to say.
When I see those videos, I know, and I want people to know that I know that I absolutely could have done better.
Okay, so some say the Congresswoman provided a good response. Others saying her explanation fell flat.
Well, I thought the Congresswoman gave a great response.
Voters want authenticity. They want somebody who is genuinely accountable and not somebody who is rehearsing carefully tested talking points. And that's what I think you really got in her response.
So will voters accept the apology? The election for California governor is November 4th, and we will see what happens. Breaking news in San Francisco at this hour, where a gas leak has forced some evacuations. This is around Cumberland and Church on the western edge of Dolores Park. Others in the area, they're being told to shelter in place. Firefighters and PG&E working right now to cap the leak in that area. In other news, it's the letter that so many Californians dread, a jury duty summons giving notice to respond and show up or face fines and possibly even jail time. But there are courts who may not be carrying out these threats, or are they? Are they effective notices in getting people to show up? CBS California investigative reporter Julie Watts set out to learn what really happens if you dodge jury duty.
When you got the jury summons, what were you thinking?
Honestly, shucks.
Mike Spratt woke up before dawn.
My wife has Parkinson's. She's home by herself.
And for him,
and that's Maria.
Jury duty is more than an inconvenience.
The best human being I know.
Why'd you come?
Because it was my duty to show up.
He also thought he had to.
Required by law to respond to this notice.
Required by law.
When it comes to jury dodging, turns out those three words may not mean much. CBS News California analyzed state data from all 58 counties and found while most courts make threats, more than 1 in 4 admit they don't sanction for jury dodging, including San Francisco, Santa Clara, Sonoma, Santa Cruz, Mendocino, and Lake counties. The net effect? Millions of Californians failed to appear for a jury summons last year. 1 out of 4 people simply didn't show up.
Come in and actually be a part of this process.
Criminal defense attorney Alexandra Kazarian defends high-profile clients alongside Mark Garagos, including the Menendez brothers and the woman charged in Matthew Perry's death.
I think it's a failure of the system.
She says jury dodgers may be robbing people of a fair trial with a jury of their peers and thinks courts need to crack down. CBS News California found while a handful of counties threaten max fines ranging from $40,000 to $2,000, only these 6 counties report that they may actually impose fines. None are in the Bay Area.
You need to focus resources on actually telling people, look, this is a huge deal, and start issuing failures to appear just like you do with traffic tickets.
Do you think that the court needs to do more to incentivize people to come so that folks can get a fair jury?
You know, obviously we're trying to balance this issue of not being too heavy-handed, but also making sure that people show up.
LA Superior Court Jury Commissioner David Slayton told us they will issue fines in some cases, but this year we found 4 out of 5 jury duty dodgers in LA County faced no punishment at all. Instead, Slayton says they're focused on outreach.
We're working on right now a jury duty campaign to try to remind people of the importance of jury duty. So it's sort of trying to use the carrot more than the stick. But obviously when we need to use more accountability, we can do that.
You're very much focused on the carrot and not the stick.
We are.
We found a similar approach at the San Francisco Superior Court, where Jury Commissioner Jacqueline LaPrevette says they don't fine at all.
Well, surprisingly, it would actually be an astronomical cost.
Instead, they pay the jurors who do show up. Your pilot program was so successful at not only getting people to show up, but getting a more diverse jury pool that the state then expanded it to other counties.
It did.
The San Francisco court ran a pilot program paying jurors $100 a day instead of the standard $15. They found the extra money removed barriers to serve, especially for low-income jurors, leading to a more diverse jury pool and increased participation among those who faced financial challenges. Do you think that the state would be better served if we could find the funding statewide to actually pay everyone across California $100 a day to serve.
Hands down.
But a few months ago, the governor pulled the funding.
But I will say, the burden should not solely be on the state.
While employers in California are required to give you time off for jury duty, they don't have to pay you. And she believes that needs to change.
Hopefully, legislation in the future can focus on forcing employers of a certain size to pay their employees for jury duty. It will keep these people coming in the door to serve and maintain fair access to justice.
In the meantime, jury boxes are filled with people who can afford to lose days of income, often retirees, like Mike.
And everybody's got their own feeling of civic responsibility, and I think that's probably declining.
Julie also learned more than 800,000 jury duty summons sent to Californians went undelivered. The reason for that, however, is unclear. Still ahead, we'll take you to the Bay Area's scariest Halloween display if you're a 49ers fan. How one of the faithful is now turning this injury curse into a Halloween spectacle for people.
Keep our fingers crossed no one else gets hurt because we don't have any more skeletons to add.
Happy Friday, everybody. We're looking at a gorgeous weekend of weather ahead of us. I highly suggest getting out this afternoon and evening, and if you can't today, don't worry. Tomorrow is going to be just as lovely out there. Those temperatures slightly above average inland, sitting in the mid to lower 80s. Hey, we haven't felt that in a while, and I hope you can again get out and enjoy yourself closer to the coast and the bay. A few degrees cooler, but overall lovely weather with little to no chances for rain over at least the next 7 days. You can put your umbrella away, at least for now.
The 49ers will be back in action this Sunday, taking on the Atlanta Falcons at Levi Stadium. And while the team has been battling a handful of injuries, as Matt Lively shows us, at least the quarterback room seems to be getting healthier.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers quarterback room is trending in the right direction health-wise. Mac Jones practiced without restrictions on Thursday, while Brock Purdy was once again limited, but it's an encouraging sign to see both quarterbacks take the field for the second day in a row. Whoever's under center on Sunday might have to go without receiver Ricky Pearsall for another week. Pearsall missed practice again Thursday as he heals from a knee injury. Kendrick Bourne's done his part in Pearsall's absence, putting in back-to-back games with 142 receiving yards in each. But it's his maturity that's impressing Kyle Shanahan the most.
He's unbelievable now. I think he's like one of the more adults in the building, which I don't think I would have ever said that 6 years ago. He's a grown-up. Speaks like he went to Ivy League now. Love having him in the building. Always have.
Just keep growing, while we're in this position right now, and it's showing. So all the little things, they add up.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
For more on this weekend's matchup, join Matt and Vern Glenn for the Red and Gold Report tonight at 7:30 on KPIX and also streaming on the free CBS News app. Meantime, one 49er fan in Alameda, he's challenging here the curse over the 49ers, and he's turning this into a creative Halloween display. He's turned his front yard now into a makeshift injury tent featuring a long line of skeletons dressed as injured players, and that includes Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Brock Purdy, and George Kittle. Meantime, skeletons of Mac Jones and Christian McCaffrey, much like their real-life counterparts, they hold down the fort on the field. We heard from Casey, the mastermind behind the Halloween display.
After the first game, Kittle got hurt and several other people got hurt, and then the next game, Purdy got hurt and Bosa, and then we're like, oh, you know what? We should set up a concussion protocol tent, and hopefully no more of them will get injured because we're running out of space here in the yard here.
The display even gets updated as players come off the injury list. Last week, Casey switched out Jawan Jennings for Warner. And it's not just injuries. On the edge of the display is a skeleton of now former Niners kicker Jake Moody with a suitcase on his way out to Chicago. Still ahead, it's almost winter, but some Bay Area students already looking ahead to next summer, how they're working to protect communities from extreme heat. In today's Project Earth, extreme heat can be deadly, and where you live, it can make a difference. As our Juliet Goodrich shows us, Bay Area students and community groups have come up with a cool idea to map heat and provide relief.
In the Bay Area, the first storm of the season, a cold, heavy rain that dropped snow in the Sierra. But at this gathering in Menlo Park, the talk is all about heat, extreme heat.
When it comes to climate change, we're prepared. We're ready to provide the resources.
Around the table, residents from the Bellhaven neighborhood as well as local students. On the table, heat kits.
We have a really crucial period right now to prepare.
Stanford student Julia Zeitlin, the focus to protect vulnerable communities next summer.
We know what future summers are going to look like. We know there are going to be, unfortunately, worse, more extreme heat events.
Extreme heat-related deaths are on the rise, especially in some urban settings. The first step, identify the heat islands, the neighborhoods that are at highest risk for significant heat,
so that we can direct localized cooling solutions in the areas that need them most.
Last year, the Palo Alto Student Climate Coalition, made up of volunteers from different high schools, set out to find out. Volunteers attached special sensors to their cars. On a hot day, they drove around 3 cities: Palo Alto, East Palo Alto, and Menlo Park.
They would go out 3 times a day, so at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. And these sensors would basically capture temperature, humidity, and also location.
That is extremely hot.
Some results: Bellhaven has pockets of hot spots. City Council member Cecilia Taylor.
Their project was amazing, and it was also necessary because there are so many challenges here.
Another finding: East Palo Alto stays hot overnight. Mayor Martha Berrigan.
We were saying, oh my gosh, our summers have been so different.
They have fewer trees and parks, as well as more heat-absorbing concrete and asphalt.
We have about 7% tree canopy.
Throughout the day, we can feel it.
The Student Climate Coalition has created a new coalition called Cool Cities.
Water bottles, Pedialites, flashlights, an electric fan.
A pilot program is distributing 100 climate resiliency kits to those at risk.
This is a matter that I really do care about because of the implications for our future.
Helping assemble the kits, Mayor Berrigan's mother. She says they'll make a difference.
Because the senior's gonna feel that somebody cared for them.
We're finally at the point where we have this data, we know what we can do.
Building community and keeping it cool, one kit at a time. I love it. For more Project Earth stories just like this one, you can head over to our website. That's kpix.com. The Monterey Bay Aquarium is getting flooded with donations, and it's all thanks to Taylor Swift. The pop star was seen wearing a vintage Monterey Bay Aquarium otter t-shirt in her movie official release party of a showgirl promoting her latest album. The aquarium then worked to track down the artwork and launched a fundraiser selling that vintage tee online in hopes to raise money for its sea otter program.
We were excited, like, oh my God, Taylor's wearing our shirt. But we were also like, okay, this is a shirt from 1993, so we don't have digital files that we can just like pull up right away to reissue it. So it became kind of an all hands on deck teamwork moment for us to try to figure out how we could bring the shirt back.
Since the launch of the fundraiser, Swifties are raising more than $2 million. Beautiful aquarium there. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Veronica Macias. We'll be back with your first alert forecast and a look at your top stories.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Veronica Macias. Here's a look at our news headlines for you this morning. Breaking news out of San Francisco, where a gas leak has forced some evacuations. This is around Cumberland and Church on the western edge of Dolores Park. Others in that area are being told to shelter in place. Firefighters and PG&E working to cap the leak. The No Kings Day protest scheduled to take place tomorrow across the Bay Area and around the country. This is video from the last No Kings protest in June. The organizers say that they're taking a stand against the Trump administration and its policies. Some Republican officials are painting the protest as un-American. BART police want to know if you've seen this woman. They think that she may know something about a stabbing near the Daly City BART station. That attack happening a month ago by the bus zone. The victim was hospitalized. Police have not said how the woman could be connected to the case. Safety upgrades at the West Portal station in San Francisco now complete. Planters were added to act as barriers, and street murals mark pedestrian zones outside of the station. It comes more than a year after a car crashed there, killing a family of 4, including 2 young children. The driver has pleaded not guilty to vehicular manslaughter charge. Now let's go ahead and get a look at your weather with First Alert weather meteorologist Zoe Minson today. And what is our weekend going to look like? So far, it's looking nice.
Happy Friday, everybody. We have made it to an absolutely gorgeous weekend for anybody that wants to get out and about. You should be good to go all across the Bay Area. This afternoon, our high temperatures are going to be a few degrees warmer than yesterday. Inland communities sitting in the upper 70s to low 80s, finally getting back to more seasonable for this time of year. Closer to our coastal communities, places like Half Moon Bay, you'll be in the upper 60s still. But overall, with a good amount of sunshine, a few passing clouds out there, this afternoon is going to be lovely. If you can't get out this afternoon, don't worry. Tomorrow afternoon is going to be just as gorgeous, if not a degree or 2 warmer than today. Those highs once again inland sitting in the low 80s, but you're also going to be in the low 80s for areas by the bay like Redwood City. So yes, those warmer temperatures are on the way, and even Half Moon Bay Saturday afternoon with a good amount of sunshine. You're going to be seeing those highs sitting in the low 70s. Again, enjoy it while you can. By Sunday, you'll be cooling down maybe a degree or 2. It's not going to be too much colder on Sunday, though, as those temperatures are likely going to stay at or slightly below average through the rest of the weekend into early next week, as there's little to no chances for rain up until next weekend. Next weekend, October 24th to the 27th, we are looking at the potential for an atmospheric river. The bulk of it's going to be hitting the Pacific Northwest and Northern California, but there is that slight potential for a little bit of it to be heading our way. Again, that's not going to be until next weekend. It's just something that we're keeping a close eye on. So if you look at our 7-day forecast, there is no chances for rain from today all the way through next Thursday. It's next Friday that the first potential for a little bit of that rain to be heading our way. And then next weekend is likely going to be a lot more active than this one, especially across our North Bay communities. All things we'll keep a close eye on, but overall enjoy this weekend while you can. It's going to be absolutely lovely out there.
Today is day 17 of the government shutdown and still no end in sight. The Senate adjourned for the week after failing for the 10th time to advance a spending bill to end the shutdown. Some federal workers are just starting to feel that impact. They recently received their last paychecks for the time being before the shutdown, and most of them, they won't be paid again until lawmakers reach that deal to fund the government. Among them, hundreds of workers at the Oakland airport, many now showing up to work without getting paid. Now the Alameda County Community Food Bank, they're stepping in here to help.
The cool thing that I will say is that the Bay Area tends to step up. We believe food is a basic human right, and we think everybody should have access to the nourishment that they need.
An official with the Oakland airport estimating nearly 300 employees are working free right now, and that includes TSA, Border Patrol, and air traffic controllers. We are now less than 3 weeks out from the California special election that could reshape the balance of power in Congress. On November 4th, Californians will vote on Proposition 50, which could give the state legislature the power to redraw